What's up, everybody? Justin here from Virtual Computers. As you know, we're doing a special webinar. We've partnered today with Bigleaf Networks. I have Eric Brooker, Senior Director, National Partners Program, on the line today. And we're going to talk about how to make your internet suck less by creating a well-connected home office with some products from Bigleaf. I know personally that, with everyone working from home, you have your kids are on Zoom and they're trying to watch Netflix, and your spouse is trying to have a video call, and like you're trying to get work done or do a WebEx like this, and it's becoming a problem for everybody. And Bigleaf has a solution for that, and I'm super excited about that. So if you have questions as we go, please put them in the chat there over on your right, and we'll answer them as we go, or try to get to as many of them as we can, possibly some of them at the end, but we'll get to you eventually. Other than that, thank you very much for joining today's webinar, and I'm pleased to hand it off to Mr. Eric Brooker. Eric, the floor is yours.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks everyone for joining. We appreciate the opportunity to present Bigleaf Networks in partnership with Virtua Computers. I have not talked about the internet sucking less. We do talk about crappy internet with some regularity. And today, although we have a standard office solution, and that's really what we've been doing back since 2014, we pivoted quite a bit. And again, while we still have the standard office solution, home office has become considerably more relevant in today's day and age. So let's talk about the why behind that. We've seen a growth in remote workers. We'll talk in detail about that. Along with the growing trends, we've seen an uptick in SaaS and VoIP usage. And then we're seeing a new set of connectivity challenges that we didn't plan for before. So most of the challenges related to work from home are now mandates. In fact, just yesterday, for those of you that are not keeping track at home, Arizona shut down again. So we saw an uptick in COVID cases in early March, late February, early March. There was a mandate through March and April that forced much of the United States home. Unfortunately, we haven't really made it through the first phase of COVID, and yet we're starting to see some shutdown again. But beyond that, we're going to see some unique trends that are taking place in the workplace, despite the fact that some people in some cities are able to go back home. I beg your pardon, back to the office. We're going to talk a little bit about the growth explosion of remote workers. So let's start there. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this slide as much as I want you to focus on that number in the far right. 4.7 million Americans. Some of you fall in that bucket. I certainly do. I've been working from home for nearly 8 years now. 4.7 million Americans worked from home in January of 2020. Let's switch slides to the new number of 85 million Americans. Some due to the mandate, some because they were non-essential workers were sent home. Some just out of convenience and precaution were sent home because there were not mandates in their respective cities or states. We went from 4.7 million Americans working from home in January to an April number of 85 million. I've done a lot of research on this statistic. There's a lot of evidence to show that that number is not only not going to get anywhere near the 4.7 million Americans again working from home, but rather that number is going to linger in the 20 to 25 million in perpetuity. So let's talk about some of the larger companies. I live in a neighborhood. I'm here in the Twin Cities, St. Paul, Minneapolis. I have a neighbor that works for corporate US Bank. US Bank, August 1st will allow the first 10% of their workforce back in the office. 3M, a gentleman also is a neighbor of mine, works for 3M. He is one of the 10% of people allowed in the office each and every day. But on a larger scale, Dell, the computer company, Dell is telling all of their people that they can work from home in perpetuity, basically forever. Google is allowing their people to work from home forever, so much so that Google is giving every one of their employees that is in fact working from home $1,000 to outfit their offices with new chairs, new desks, new technology to support their needs and requirements in this new norm. So this isn't going away. Twitter is allowing all of their staff to work from home. In fact, we're seeing some statistics that 74% of CFOs expect to move previously on-site employees remote post-COVID-19. We're seeing it at Bigleaf. In fact, our hiring has shifted a little bit. In fact, I'm hiring for a couple positions where we would historically have them in Portland at our corporate office. Now it's less and less relevant where they reside because of COVID. So we're seeing a shift in behavior, but there's a lot of companies that also need to recover financially from COVID. You guys may be one of them. We've all seen an impact. There are a lot of studies. Here's one of them, that a typical employer can save about $11,000 a year for every person that works from home, even part-time. So there's even a cost saving measure in working from home or working remote. Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk now about the growth in technology and SaaS usage. Probably a relevant part of the conversation for many of you. But let's first talk about the average number of applications that an employee uses. So if you take that 51 to 100 person company here on this graph, you'll see that that average company uses 79 different applications on their network. Now, some of them are applications that you in IT know about. Some of them are things like RingCentral. Some of them are Zoom or Salesforce.com. Some of them are applications that us employees don't tell you in IT about. They're business applications, OneNote, Evernote, Notability. There are applications that we're using that, because I have a corporate credit card or even a credit card and an expense report, I'm going ahead and spending that $8 a month to use those tools that are helping me with efficiencies. We'll get back to that in just a minute, but the mere fact that employees are now creating sort of shadow IT is creating a new set of challenges. But let's go back to the increase in application usage. Zoom, as an example, in February had 10 million daily active users. That number is now well over 200 million. Microsoft has seen over a 775% jump in some of their cloud-based services. WebEx is boosted up. We're seeing all the numbers of the adoption of cloud-based services more so now than ever before. The problem is it's creating a new set of connectivity challenges. I'll use Justin's phrase, the internet sucks. The internet sucks because residential internet, again, we have a standard business offering. We're talking today just about home office. Residential internet was never built for 85 million users working from home forever, or even for a short period of time. Some of the statistics that we've gathered, there are 3.5 hours of ISP downtime. We've actually gathered this metric from all of our customers that use a wide range of ISPs across the globe. The ISP downtime is one thing. Sometimes your firewall can handle that, but what your firewall can't handle, and oftentimes what's even more problematic, is the 23 hours of unusable performance. For those of you sitting at home, that's the spinny globe of Netflix. That's the spinny globe of Disney Plus. That's the, hey, Justin, can you repeat yourself? There was a hiccup on our RingCentral call. RingCentral is not the problem. It's the internet at your house that is the problem. So we have a solution for that. That is a problem with Zoom, with voice, with video applications. Let's talk a little bit about what the standard home office looks like. You have your firewall, your router, you've got your modem. The problem is this is also what your standard home office looks like. You've got latency, jitter, packet loss, the occasional down internet connection. Again, it doesn't happen often where it's truly down, but I was doing a presentation the other day. I looked out my office window and saw my ISP Comcast was quote unquote working on the internet. So those problems do happen. The larger issue though is the unusable performance.